Hi, Nell. Am I in the right place?
Yes, you definitely are.
I didn't know if I had to
I
come in through a different door.
no, because you're a special guest. Yeah. No, everybody comes in the same door except that I have
You're busy getting
yeah.
ready.
No, well, no, I have access rights. So I let people in the door um on purpose.
Okay.
They're selectively let in. They have they have to have the secret passcode. How are
I,
you?
I'm
I'm
excited
ex
about this.
I'm excited too. I'm glad you are. Yeah, we've got 66 who've registered.
Wow.
Now, if they all show up, we'll see. But the recording's available, and I'm gonna parse it up so that we can repurpose in different pieces and give you copies if you want to share any of them.
Okay.
They're
Yeah.
not going to be edited except for being parsed up. I don't have the time to edit them
Oh,
all.
don't worry about that. I'm more interested in the folks that have attended.
All right, right.
Follow and I'm happy to follow up with them. It's going to be. I'm glad we're doing the poll first because I think
Mm-hmm.
it'll give us a sense um of who's in the room.
No, absolutely, yes, or who could potentially be in the room if we're
Right.
yeah, if we notice that we have a
So,
gap.
quick question for you. Am I going to
Yeah.
be on camera or can I just read from my script and are the slides going to be front and center?
I'm going to present your slides here. Let me demonstrate. So there's what we'll do. I'm going to share your slides queued up here. Let me share this, and they're going to have to watch me go through my gyrations here. But here you are, and then you just talk to the slides, and I'll listen to you. Wait, hang on a second.
Okay. And were you
Okay.
able to fix the one boo-boo?
Oh, which boo-boo was it?
So on the case studies, it
Yeah.
says garden automotive and it's guardian.
Okay, let's fix it now. So, Guardian,
Yeah, that
D-I,
should be guardian, Guardian.
K-G-A-R-D-I-A-N.
AN. Just get rid of the E. Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. That's it.
Are we good? Okay.
Good.
All right, excellent. We're gonna stop sharing then. Let's see. Let me get into present mode so they don't see the whole thing. I hope that it keeps this setting. Okay, I've got to move up now. Let's see what's going on. This is part of the technical setup we have to do. Okay, cool. We are set. I'm
Okay.
probably more nervous than you are.
Well, I have been nervous for probably 6 weeks, but now that I've gotten my head around it, I mean, the reason for them to do this is not only to be a good citizen, but it helps them stand out in the community and in their space. And
Oh,
if they get nothing else out of this, I want them to get that. It's
yes.
differentiation and thought leadership, and that's important.
No, and I concur. Is it's just be thinking about what is your positioning in terms of how you are as a corporate member of the society.
Well,
What
and the
is your
thing is, if
positioning?
people, if you do good and you do well for your community and where you work and live and play, I mean, it's only going to bring growth and benefit. But
Mm-hmm.
certainly, I bet you, I predict someone's going to say, "How do I measure this?" And
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be the fun discussion because
Mm-hmm.
you just look at where you were and where you got to. That's it.
Yes, exactly. Well, also look at others who've done this. You know, where did they start, and when they did good in the community, where did they
Well,
end?
I think I leave them with some, pick two KPIs. Don't pick all of them. Just pick two of them
Mm-hmm.
and have a look at compare before and after.
Right, before and after. Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's a simple thing. And but also they have to pay attention to what it is. Pick the KPI to actually measure it.
Yeah. Well,
To
the
actually
measurement,
measure it.
as a matter of fact, I think what I'd like to do is follow up with these people. I've created a chart of KPIs, and so
Yeah,
we can send that to them afterwards.
perfect. That would be great. Even if they don't attend, let's just send it to them,
Yeah,
to
right?
people.
Exactly.
But also post it, if you could post it on your profile, your feed.
Yeah.
I'll I'll share. And then we can all kind of help each other
Because
create some.
I mean, the KPIs are, um, I think the key is they have to use the tools that they have, and this is where you guys are going to have to help me, like smart meters, utility bills, waste reports, online calculators, all those things.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
they're small and they're doable, but then you have to report the results to your team and your community, or they're not
Hmm.
meaningful.
Yeah, that's right. Now go with what you got because
Okay.
you're comfortable with them, and we don't want to introduce anything new now. But well, because one of the basic problems that we are running into is just that we're not collecting data.
Right.
So it's the access to data. They're running their companies on
Right.
a gut feeling. In not in all cases, but in many cases, where
Mhm.
that's not ideal,
Yeah.
especially not now. You want to at least back up your choices, your decision making with some form of data or some
Yeah.
analysis.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm all
Very
about
true.
that. That's all I do every day.
Yeah,
And tweak
you do.
accordingly.
Yeah, that's right. So you're an example of what you preach. So
Well,
that's
and
very,
it's
very good.
progress over perfection, right?
Right? Yeah, very good. Yes, good enough, and just making progress. Yeah, and not spending too much time. I like what you have on. I don't think I noticed that before, but on the boardroom table behind you, you've got a little terrarium.
Oh, yes. I
Yeah,
have a real terrarium in my home.
a real,
I'm a,
real one.
I'm a green thumb,
Yeah, I'll
bunnies and
say.
Smiths.
I'll say I'm coming to you with my orchid problems. Just keeping them alive is an issue that I have, but so far so good. The
Well, at least
last
you have
one.
good water in Southern California. We have horrible water here. It kills them. If your pets drink the water here, they'll die.
Oh,
Hard water.
too
Horrible.
alkaline, too
Too,
acidic,
too acidic
too
and too
acidic.
salt. Too much salt.
Salt. Okay,
Yeah.
got
I hear my children. Be quiet. I have to perform here.
it. Oh, they want mommy.
They're so
Yeah,
rascally. One of these days I'll have to send you a picture.
I
They're
would love.
astonishing looking.
Yes, please do anyway. I'd love to, and if you've got some available, that you'd like to
Oh
share,
yes.
that would be amazing. Yeah, it's good to know. Yeah, you, Maria, and yeah, this is not going to be something we stop doing because it is one of our sustainability is one of our edge tools. So,
Well,
it's
I'm
not
happy
going
to do
away.
it anytime, and I think sometimes it's fun for, I'm learning about manufacturing, but they're also learning about things outside their comfort zone. So it's nice to have something different, not just the same old.
No, that's right. Well, something that's expansive like this. And what I'm finding through research is that companies that do demonstrate responsibility to society and also to the environment, and that
Oh,
they're following their
their supply chain becomes more robust.
yes,
Um, they're the ultimate consumer. It can, I mean, it's a
yes,
snowball effect.
yes, and the workforce, the people who want to who
Correct.
choose to work with you
Well,
feel better.
employee engagement, employee retention is hard to begin with, but
Yes, yes.
when you can be proud to be working for a company because they're doing good.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, the retention, and also the productivity. You know, people they're happy if they are proud of their company, but also they're recognized
Yes.
and appreciated.
And if they're
So
part of these audits and these, they feel like they're contributing, right?
yes. That's part of
Yeah.
the societal aspect of the ESG. It's become kind of a
I,
mantra with me
I,
lately.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and a post came out today talking about sustainability that I created, so I hope that it kind of
Oh, good.
dovetails with this. But 66 people have registered, and I'm
Oh.
excited about that. That shows some interest, and it's kind of
It
yeah,
doesn't matter to me. Yesterday I had a call where only one person showed up, and it's fine. I mean, that's
yeah.
every
That's
day, and I don't mind it at all. So,
no, yeah, but at least we have well given you and us some more exposure, reasons to be people to be talked about. Yeah, it's just a subject of matter and so forth.
how are you doing with your UK development?
Oh, it's happening. So
Oh, good.
yeah, we're also talking about in the future, advancing AI together. So how that looks is something yet to be kind of fine-tuned and redefined, actually. And but they're moving in the same. We're moving in the same direction. Let's just say that. And like
And I use a lot of AI in my practice, and
yes,
all I have to do is tell people, get Fathom, get Perplexity, and get Apollo, and heads explode. And it's true.
yeah,
Because
that's
Apollo,
true.
have you been looking at Apollo lately?
Oh,
The
I
new
haven't. Oh, I should. I am.
oh my,
I do
they
subscribe.
have integrated AI into everything.
Cool.
You can run analysis and it will match you to the appropriate prospect based on your AI content center. So we have to beef up our AI content center because that's where it's going to find out about values, the company,
Right.
and then going out and listening to posts, and it's so powerful. It's mind-boggling.
I know. Who figured this? And the people who figure it all out. Golly.
Well, I have an alpha and a beta version, so I get all the new stuff as it comes out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good.
So
Good.
I could build a list, like I could enrich a list with one prompt.
Right. And this is, now you've got I have the basic
I have the
subscription.
basic. If you want to
Yeah.
jump on a call in a couple of weeks, I can take you through some of the new things.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I will take you up on that. Yeah, I think that
It's,
would be highly valuable for us too, because we have extracted leads from
but I mean, you can put,
Apollo.
once you populate your AI content center with, your value props and everything that you do, um, you can actually, they have algorithms built in where you can identify your ideal customer profile and it will go and find them for you.
She.
And it will tell you if they're in the market for, let's say, a lean solution or a sustainability audit. It'll tell you.
Because it knows where they've been looking and what
Correct,
they've been
correct,
looking for.
correct.
They know because it's all, well, I thought only Google had access to this information, but no longer,
No,
huh?
no, no. Apollo's got it all. It's amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. Wow, I think it's a publicly held company. So they have,
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
Um,
So they have access to capital.
but they've just changed it. They've changed it so we used to have one Apollo account with multiple. I used to have
Mhm,
multiple
mhm.
clients. You can't do that anymore because the
No.
AI is looking at you.
Yes, absolutely. Do you mind if I invite Nate to a meeting with us? So Roy just
Oh,
joined us.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because Nate is working closely with me now on the V Plus marketing.
Yeah.
So he volunteered to help, and of course we want to reward him.
Why do the children have to be
Perspective.
making noise now?
Oh, because you're not paying attention to them.
They're supposed to be sleeping.
I don't hear anything if that's
Oh,
worth
good.
anything. I don't hear anything. But yeah, so it's not distracting at all. And whatever they're doing. But I know it
They're
is too.
digging on the floor is what they're doing.
Well, if at some point you need to, if it's an emergency arises,
No,
then
no, no.
yeah,
I will ignore them.
I'll fill in.
I will ignore them.
But that would be.
Roy, I have gigantic bunny rabbits. I mean, like 24-pound bunny rabbits, and they are being naughty.
Oh, she is an aficionado, also in orchids. So if you
Orchids
ever
and
have
bunnies.
orchids and
Angel,
bunnies,
behave yourself.
that is
We
her
have bunny
thing.
rabbits around our neighborhood, but none of them are that big.
Yeah.
That's a
Wow.
whopper.
These are the
Yeah.
Great Danes of bunnies.
Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't what you feed it. It's
It's their
their
breeding.
natural trait.
Their genes.
Oh, that's so
All right. Well, if anybody comes
funny.
up with manufacturing questions, I look to both of you to help me out.
All
Where
right.
my
Yeah.
You
deficits
got
lay.
it.
Will do. Yes, you do. You got it. We got your back. And everything about, yeah. So let's just wait. It's 11 o'clock, top of the hour right now. So let's just wait a minute, see if anybody else comes in. But nonetheless, the show must go on. And we'll just use the
Yeah,
transcript.
people will get the recording if nothing else.
Yeah, and the recording. But what I like to do too is from the transcript that's created, I like to write like a the same day, a summary of what was covered.
Yeah,
So then
that's dynamite.
I give that to all of the registrants so that they are caught up. But also I post it on my posts, and I'll post if you want to share it, Maria, or I can give you. You want to post it on your the same article? We can do the same, and then create more audience that way. Okay, I was just telling Maria that we had 66 registered as of 45 minutes before the hour. So, and we'll see who shows up, including Brett. So Brett Griffith, he's our contact, our guy in London.
Mm.
So yeah, it is 7 o'clock his time. So we'll see PM. Okay, so you're 2 minutes in. So let's just kick it off, shall we?
Sure.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Roy. Okay, so welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever in the world you happen to be. Thank you for joining us today. And our essential and energizing webinar is going to be featuring Maria Perez, you see here on the screen beside me. So the title of this live broadcast today is Manufacturing with Purpose, Transforming Small and Medium Manufacturers into Sustainability Leaders, brought to you by Strategic Value Plus Solutions. I am Nell Varinas, your host for today's event. Whether you're dialing in from a boardroom, a plant floor, or your kitchen table, you're in the right place at the right time. So in the next hour, we'll uncover actionable strategies that small and medium-sized manufacturers can use to drive efficiency, sustainability, and purpose-driven profitability. But first, let's give special acknowledgement to our host, Strategic Value Plus Solutions. So we are a trusted partner in operational excellence and digital transformation for manufacturers across North America. The VPlusEdge framework provides a comprehensive suite of services designed to help companies optimize efficiency, reduce costs, and scale impact. The VPlusEdge model empowers manufacturers to digitize and streamline operations through real-time data and insights. They develop a resilient, sustainable enterprise through environmental, social, and governance integration. We're going to be talking some about that today. Also, VPlusEdge products enhance productivity using Lean and Six Sigma principles. They make smarter decisions with predictive analytics, digital twins, and advanced AI, including agentic AI. So ask me about that later. We help companies increase profitability through smart automation, supply chain and operational visibility, and reduction of waste. So whether you're at the start of your digital journey or deep in Industry 4.0, Strategic Value Plus can help guide your transformation with clarity, purpose, and results. You can learn more about these services at strategicvalueplus.com. Now, it's my absolute pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Maria L. Perez. Maria is a pioneer in sustainably driven marketing and the founder of causemarketingconsultant.com. She has spent her career turning purpose into measurable result, not only for brands, but for communities and the planet. Maria's innovative work blends ESG strategy, which is environment, social, and governance strategy, cause marketing, and compliance alignment, helping small and medium businesses. Sorry, just to let somebody in. Okay. She spent her career turning purpose into measurable impact, not only for brands, but also for communities and the planet. So Maria's innovative work blends ESG strategy, cause marketing, and compliance alignment, helping small and medium-sized businesses build authentic connections and drive lasting value. Whether it's improving brand loyalty, enhancing compliance, or achieving a greener supply chain, Maria knows how to turn intention into action. Please warmly welcome Maria Perez. Thank you, Maria, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me today. All right. Well, I am Maria, and I am a cause and social issues marketing coach and consultant. And what I do is I help businesses ideate, advance, or amplify purpose-driven initiatives. And today we're going to explore how SMMs can lead the charge in purposeful and purpose-driven production. And as a result, realize differentiation, thought leadership in the space and among the community where they're working with their employees. So let's get started today. I'd like to kick off by with a poll. So we would like to ask a couple of questions. Nell, could you pull up the poll and let's put forth the first question.
There you go.
All right. So if folks could comment as to how advanced are your current sustainability initiatives, just trying to get a sense of who's here today and where you are in your sustainability initiatives. So is it a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4? Okay. Nate is just starting out. Okay, Brian is still starting out. Okay. All right. Anybody else, or should we move on to question 2?
Your choice.
Okay, let's go. Let's go on to question 2. So, where are you stuck? What is your biggest barrier? Is it budget and bodies? Is it employees are not involved? Is it that you don't know how to measure the return on investment if you advance some of these things? Is it uncertainty about who you should even connect with in the community and why? Okay. Okay. All right. Question 3 before we dive in. So, do you participate in any community-focused initiatives, and where do your interests lie? And these may not be familiar to you, these terms, but if they are, go ahead and let me know where your interests lie. Okay. Okay, perfect. Well, let's dive in. So, oh, that's the end.
I'm sorry. Let's try to take
Fine.
place. They'll move up.
It's fine. We'll just back up. There we go. Right here. Perfect. So, in my research, I have discovered that SMMs face a report facing unique challenges: limited resources, complex compliance, and low awareness of cause marketing potential. But these barriers also hide opportunities to differentiate, build trust, and drive growth. So what I want to accomplish today, I'm hopeful that you'll gain insights into overcoming sustainability barriers, discover some practical tactics, learn how to align sustainability with community causes, get a clear roadmap for implementation, and then have some idea of how do I measure this? How do I do that? So we're going to explore some actionable strategies, things like energy audits to reduce waste, local sourcing to cut emissions, digital tracking tools to boost efficiency. We know these tactics are proven to deliver results even on tight budgets. So the way I thought we would do this is let's have a look at some case studies so that you can see yourself in these other examples. These examples demonstrate how SMMs can drive positive community impact through sustainable practices, workforce development, and local partnerships. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Electrolux Kingston plant. So Electrolux Kingston implemented a really cool program called the Green Spirit Program. it focused on energy efficiency and employee engagement. So by optimizing processes and empowering staff, they were able to achieve significant energy and cost reductions, proving that sustainability starts with people. So let's dive a little bit deeper. Challenge: high energy costs, limited employee engagement. Solution: the Green Spirit program. They process optimized, they use sensor-based lighting and daily leak checks. Simple things, and the employees got to do it and be a part of it. What ended up happening? The results were lower energy use, they realized cost savings, and they empowered their staff. Really neat project. Easy to implement and not a lot of cost associated. Okay, we can move on to another case study. This case study, advanced composite structures. They used lean manufacturing to streamline operations. They were able to reduce costs by 65%. They doubled production. They cut scrap rates from 24% to under 2%, showing how lean principles drive both sustainability and profitability. So to encapsulate what happened was their challenge was wasteful processes and low efficiency. Their solution, lean manufacturing, value stream mapping. And the result was a 65% cost reduction, doubled their output, and their scrap rate dropped to 1.8%. Pretty impressive. Okay, let's move on to one other case study. So Guardian Automotive. Guardian Automotive launched a comprehensive recycling program. They diverted 13,000 tons of waste. They saved over $360,000 annually. And this kind of demonstrates the power of circular economy practices for SMMs. So their challenge was they had these high waste disposal costs. The solution was twofold: a comprehensive recycling program and staff training. The result: 13,000 tons recycled, 360K annual savings. And the icing on the cake, and my favorite part as a cause marketer, was the community involvement piece. They donated recycled materials to schools for STEM kits. And they hosted workshops on circular manufacturing for local SMMs and students. So think about this. This is thought leadership in the space and thought leadership in the community and workforce development for their particular piece of the industry, which is very, very amazing. And if you think about it, this provides earned media, this provides this thought leadership among their peers. The employees are proud to work there. The students are learning how important this is. So it snowballs when you are able to deploy these programs. So, and another, if we can move on to the next slide, another interesting, we're calling it cause marketing meets compliance. So when you align sustainability with community causes, it no longer is just about compliance. It's a chance to build brand loyalty and trust. Certifications and community partnerships turn regulatory requirements into marketing advantages. Many of these company case studies that I reviewed report their supply chain folks being ridiculously happy with their advancing these purpose-driven initiatives and wanting to work with them even more and only work with them versus a competitor. Okay, so how do we put this all together and actually implement and have the roadmap to do that? You know, it's baby steps. It really is baby steps. Your roadmap is you start with an assessment. Once you've done your assessment, you pilot something that's cost effective for you, and then you scale and measure the results. And this approach is going to ensure sustainability delivers ROI, even with limited resources. So assess, pilot, scale, measure. Okay, so investing in local talent and suppliers ultimately builds trust. It attracts media attention and secures a loyal workforce, suppliers, and customers. So let me say that again. In staying local, you're going to build trust, attract media attention, secure a loyal workforce, suppliers, and customers. So the future is also already here, and this can be exemplified by leaders like BMW and GE Aerospace. So AI, hybrid systems, smart factories are transforming manufacturing, and BMW and GE Aviation are examples of folks setting the pace. I believe in my research, both BMW and GE Aviation are setting new standards in smart manufacturing by integrating digital twins, AI, additive manufacturing, advanced robotics, and so they're able to deliver greater efficiency, flexibility, sustainability, and product quality. And I have some more detail that we can send you about specifically what they're doing, if you have an interest to learn more. Okay, do we have any questions that people want to ask at this juncture before I get into how do you measure all of this?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you to delve a little deeper on the advanced composite structures, that getting down to a 1.8% scrap rate. And so basically, could you get into a little bit more how they were able to do that, what it was before and what it is after?
Well, I'm not a manufacturing person.
Oh,
So,
I'm sorry.
so
Okay.
no, I can't. But I can tell you that it's the halo effect of being able to do this retrospective analysis of where you were and where you got to, and to put that benefit out there. That's the halo effect of implementing all of this. I can't tell you how they did it because I'm not a manufacturer. I wouldn't be able to do that. But I can tell you that the result endears them to their supply chain, endears them to the community, endears them to schools where they can pass along those data points.
Could you
So
talk a little
basically,
bit? Oh, I'm
did they
sorry.
do this by recycling? Do we have any idea?
Which particular case study are you asking me
The
about?
advanced composite structures.
I'm like, that's not the name of one of them. Oh, advanced composite structures. Um,
If you don't know, don't waste your time on it.
no,
It's
I mean,
really interesting.
it says in my notes, it says lean, and you guys are all manufacturing aficionados. It said through lean manufacturing and value stream mapping. I have a very detailed case study I can also send. I just abbreviated it for the purpose of this discussion.
I appreciate it. I'd love to know more. Thank you.
Maria, do you want to talk about some of the other cases, maybe that you directly were involved with, not necessarily manufacturing related?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the KPIs real quick because I'm
Okay.
sure that
Okay, let's
and
do
this is
that.
something that the group probably can address on my behalf because I knew or I anticipated that somebody was going to say, okay, how do you track your sustainability impact? And I'm
I'm
like,
sorry.
I'm not in manufacturing. I don't know. So my research showed that, first of all, you have to select some KPIs, not all of the KPIs, because you can't do that, just a few. So, and it's more prudent to use available tools like smart meters, utility bills, waste reports you get from suppliers. There are online calculators as well. And it's even more important to report the results to your team and your community. So, you can use, if you want to look at energy consumption, waste that you've recycled, your carbon footprint, recycled content, cost savings. Like you can compare the expenses before and after the sustainability projects are executed. And my favorite is the ROI / social impact ROI. And you do this, you take the net profit from your initiatives, and you assign a value to social impact, and you can actually calculate that. And last but not least, logging the volunteer hours, and record partnerships, and if you can and when you can, survey, so that you have some data points on from your employees and from people that have worked with you. So that's what I have for you today. I'm hopeful that there's been some value here today about what you can do. Nell, to answer your question, would you like me to give some examples of other cause and social issues?
Yes. Yes, I think that would be valuable to us.
Before you do, Maria, could I ask,
Mhm.
I don't remember which of the examples you gave, but you talked about recycling and connecting with a STEM project,
Mhm.
and I'm involved with a STEM nonprofit. Can you walk us through how that works? Is it old computers are giving? How does it
It can
connect?
it can be anything you want it to be. In this particular case, I think they were after they were after brand differentiation and thought leadership, right? Because the program had two prongs. One was they were giving these kits to the kids so that they could actually experiment, learn these best practices. But they also were going to their competitors and other people in the space and train the trainer type activity, right? Where we did it, now we're going to show you how to do it. Maybe you can do it too. And thought leadership it's important. Yeah, it's really important. It's walking the walk and talking the talk, essentially.
So yeah, so there's two pieces there. One is I'm hearing you say that they kind of built a community for the community, right? So the business owners connected with the community in that way. And were you involved in bringing the I'm assuming it was a nonprofit, but the STEM organization to the table, and how does that get translated into
Actually,
some of the
project that I worked on was a workforce development project, tech force, and a lot of machine shops and automotive, they just don't have people. They don't have people, and they're freaking out because they don't have people. So I worked with tech force to try to leverage that, and they have their tentacles in because they want the next generation of technician. They want students to want to become technicians, not necessarily go off to university. So it's really very strategic values alignment, to be honest with you. Got to get the right people in the room, and the value prop has to be there as well.
And do you help bring the I'll call it the PR value, whatever the other media attention to it?
The reason why I talk about ideating, advancing, or amplifying is because when I work with a company that wants to ideate, advance, or amplify a purpose-driven initiative, it depends where they are in this process. Do they have anything, or do they have to start from square one? Do they have something that's broken? How do they fix it? Do they have something that isn't making enough noise? Isn't really being messaged out to the right people? In this case, we got to part 3 once the three partners were working together. When I work with a nonprofit, it's usually different. It's usually straight up, I want sponsors. How do I communicate my value prop to these patrons, corporate partners, or sponsors? And that's always about audience and value. It's different. On the nonprofit side, it's different. It's who can they put in the room? What properties, assets, and touch points do they have that a purpose-driven initiative can take advantage of? And that's lead generation, thought leadership, and brand differentiation.
Thank you.
Well, to follow in parallel with what you're talking about there, Maria, how would you start with a manufacturer that's interested that doesn't have anything
Gap analysis.
in place right now?
Gap analysis.
Okay. Could you detail some of the steps out so that we can get our arms around it? Great.
Yeah. So, a gap analysis, the kind of gap analysis I love to use, is really a self-assessment, because they're going to tell you where they feel that they have their strengths and weaknesses. That's the starting point. I usually work for 2 months because I have to understand the values of the organization. I'm not psychic. I can't crawl inside their heads. So we work together with the ultimate goal of a readiness assessment, of launching something, but preparing it for launch and ensuring that we have all the piece parts. So it's really, it's kind of a combination: gap analysis, needs analysis, and then strategic roadmap to get to readiness to launch.
And you help them ask themselves the questions to then do that assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yep. And a lot of times it's just misalignment. More often than not, it's they want to launch. So the face of the organization, the owner, founder, executive director, wants to do something. They have staff or people that can do it, but they don't know enough about how to manage those people, and they're stuck down the hellhole. I mean, most of the time it's stuck down the hellhole. I don't know if I never learned how to do this. I don't know if I forgot how to do this. Where do I start? What are the steps?
Mhm.
You know, and I actually use quite a bit of AI and task analysis tools. And so my tech stack is pretty stealth, but it really helps owners and founders get off the dime, not get unstuck. And then
Mhm.
they feel that they can manage somebody on their team, or we train up the leader and some teammates, and then they work together. And sometimes, it's interesting. Sometimes the starting point is fundamentally based on the pillars of the organization and what's built into the DNA of the organization. It doesn't always have anything to do initially with production sustainability. It might start with some other love, some other thing that they embrace, and then it goes back to, okay, how do we integrate this everywhere, right? I can give you an example. I have a solar company that I work with, and their volunteerism, employee engagement, that's where everything started from. And then everything was also, actually their entire business model changed, where they took 20% of every dollar they made and reinvested it in the communities where they did business. And that's how they financed their programs.
It's a big commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Mhm.
big, so, gosh, that's a great example. So they started with nothing and now they're contributing 20% of
Yeah,
their,
and their employees love them. I mean, they pay them to volunteer. Not only do they support things like, well, solar is a strange business because there's a lot of government tax credits and all kinds of things going on right now. It's kind of blowing up. But they were able to grow and keep an incredible workforce just because of the causes and the community initiatives that they were supporting. So it's all good.
Yeah,
and
and
you
all
kind
of
of,
those contacts are prospects.
yes,
Mhm.
all of them. And can we kind of circle back to the program you described that was involved with STEM and workforce development? Because that is key to manufacturing.
I mean, you can dumb it down to its lowest common denominator. I want to work for a company that does good, but also allows me to partake in that. And that's basically, that actually was the other example of the audits, the self audits, which I think is great too. I mean, the green energy program I thought was excellent in terms of engaging the workforce and making them feel proud that they're contributing to the solution, right? The STEM project was pretty brilliant too. They had this excess waste and they turned it into educational materials, which then they brought into the schools, which then they brought to their peers, which in turn excited people about getting into that industry and potentially, working in those industries. So
That's a great story, a great
it
case
is a
study.
good story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And do you know, has it been replicated in other
Oh, all over the place.
companies?
But there's
Yes,
all kinds of permutations in cause marketing. I mean, you know,
yes.
there's with consumer forward facing businesses and even in the B2B environment. I mean, as you can see, the supply chain endearment is there just as much as the consumer endearment is there. And what that means is, all things being equal, if I can buy your product, or I'll buy it because you're doing good, and that makes me feel good. So, right, all things price being sort of in the same ballpark. But there are a lot of, I think what I found most intriguing, because I'm not in the manufacturing space, is, if you choose your KPIs and you look back on where you saved money and where you reduce waste, I mean, you start to see that you now have freed up funds to grow your programs. But you have to start somewhere. William, I'm going to ask you, have you ever been involved in any of these things? We can't hear you.
Yeah, I was muted. There was some background noise. I didn't want it to interfere with your presentation. Yeah, I was very involved with the DOL and their workforce. So we would, and by the way, Nate and anybody, I mean, workforce, the DOL and every state workforce wants people to find jobs, to find solutions to help the manufacturers out. So by getting involved with any state workforce, they will have a program, they will get involved, and it can be very helpful. And I was very involved with the DOL in that.
In DC or in?
No. The group I was with was a subsidiary of the Department of Labor.
Mhm.
So we worked directly under them and we put together some programs and so on and so forth. Also did a program for United Way to help some of their people, again, trying to get people into the workforce.
And when Nell and I were first talking about this discussion, we did see that, I don't remember, was it DOE or DOL now that had some grants for some of these?
Oh, the Department of Commerce is
Was it?
one, yeah. And the SBA,
Mhm.
Small Business Administration, also has grants and funding for
No, I don't know
workforce.
I don't know with the current climate, I don't know what the status of those
Yeah, I
grants
know it is kind of
are,
everywhere wondering.
but there were at some point, if a manufacturer wanted to implement, they could get funds that would help underwrite some of it. Yeah. So.
Do you have access? I know you mentioned you do not do grant writing, but do you have people who
I don't do grant writing, but I do a lot of strategic alliance partnership development, and I could definitely advise and speak to, ways you can talk to your channel partners or supply chain and involve them and partner with them without question. And then everybody benefits, upstream and downstream.
So could you talk us through a hypothetical case where there's two strategic partners?
Yeah, I think in some of the examples they talk about local sourcing, right? Well, if you're sourcing locally, if you can, I mean, I don't know much about that process, but my brain tells me that it's going to have some benefit, reciprocal benefit, and some benefit across the board, and it's being able to measure that and report it and share it. It's just a matter of partnering on those, passing the baton, if you will, and keeping it in the local community.
So it's mostly somebody has to take the initiative to reach out.
Well, and I think that's the under-resourced piece. And I go back to also going down the how hole. I mean, if you're worrying about, if your core business is manufacturing, I don't know, do you have a marketing communications person? Do you have a public relations person? I'm not a fractional anything, but I end up being a fractional something every once in a while because they don't have that knowledge in some of the, I'm sure Bill can speak to this, and I've heard him speak to it before. The big companies have all these things, right? They have to. And I don't know enough about compliance, but it seems to me you've got to be buttoned up. So you have to address these things. But I was reading that some of the smaller manufacturers, they don't even own their own building. You know, they have a lot of less control than the bigger firms. And so yeah, that's why we do the gap analysis. Where is the deficit? How do we plug it up?
What kind of questions do you ask in your gap analysis?
Well, I kind of do two versions of a gap analysis. One is because a lot of times I'm teaching a sales function. And so is it prospecting? Is it marketing? Is it, you know, tell me where you're strong, tell me where you're weak, you know, and we have a color scheme, red to green. We would love to draw a line through all of the items that we list and say, oh, I'm great at all of these, but invariably, I don't have the first clue how to do this thing or that thing. So the second piece usually is more about value propositions, values alignment, how loud they want to speak, what's their tone. And a lot of the time, this is all very new. Again, their core business is not looking warm and fuzzy, and they're not typically consumer forward facing. So kind of have to pivot it to supply chain endearment.
You're comfortable in the consumer forward facing world as well?
Oh, super. Yeah. I mean, I can give you an example. There's a little company called WH Smith. I'm not sure you've ever heard of them. They operate retail stores in hospitals and airports all over the world. And I did a project with them with a charity as the beneficiary. It was a purchase triggered donation. So for every item that was purchased, a certain percentage went back to the nonprofit, as well as because they were operating in airports. And this particular charity flies children for specialized medical care wherever they need it in the world when they can't get it where they reside. They created an employee engagement program where many of these kids are suffering debilitating. They're on a treatment journey. They're going to Johns Hopkins or they're going to Children's Hospital, and they created respite stations in the employee lounges, and the employees would host them, and these folks could get out of the hustle and bustle of the airport. And we've raised over $500,000.
That's exciting.
And it's just because someone's coming through the airport, they forgot to get their kid something, so they buy one of the little mascots, and I think they're about $20, and so every time one is sold, there's $5 go in the kitty. It adds up.
And so then how do you get that activity communicated to WH Smith's community, business community, or commercial community, consumer community?
Well, the consumer community, it's a point of sale impulse purchase. It's a purchase donation. So they're buying gum or they're buying something, and this is front and center, so they just grab it. That's easy. Employees, they did it internally with posters and a program celebrating the volunteers that gave respite, because these guys fly 800 to 1,200 flights a month. It's high volume. And then the charity in turn, put it out through their own channels, their donors. And there's all kinds of interesting things. I'm working on a project now for a company that biofortifies seeds. So they have farmers in third world countries that plant these seeds. So they'll go to Africa and say, well, you're eating white sweet potatoes and you have a vitamin A deficiency. You should plant red sweet potatoes. They're higher in vitamin A. And we're working on finding a company that will advertise on their products that every time you buy one of these seed packages, a farmer in Africa's family is benefiting from better nutrition and food, and also we're tying into schools, and they get a percentage of the sales. So if I'm going to buy seeds, and I know I'm helping somebody in another place,
Mm-hmm.
I might buy this one over that one. So
Mm-hmm.
lots of projects like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I really truly believe it's just as applicable to manufacturing. You know, and everything that I have researched has said that suppliers will work with you more if you're doing good, but not if they don't, not if you're invisible and don't talk about it.
Sure.
So I do have to say there has to be some type of um, um, communication out to the
Mm-hmm.
suppliers, to those you serve, those you sell to. So that does have to be established.
So
And
the champion of this kind of initiative, where does it generally start inside of a company that you've
no, in
noticed?
my experience, especially with the smaller firms, it's usually the founder.
Mm-hmm.
I have been looking very carefully at B Corp recently, certified B Corp, um, and it's usually the founder. And again, they're just stuck down the hellhole. I want to advance purpose-driven initiatives in my company. Help me do that. I don't know how.
Right, and the ROI, the return on investment, is some of it is not measurable, or well, it
I
can
think
be.
I think it's all measurable. I think people
Mhm.
overthink it. It's really, where am I today? And then after you implement, like the roadmap I shared suggests, what changed? And then what was, what was the outcome? I mean, it's not that complicated. You don't need some special KPI calculator. It's before and after. What was the goal outcome, and did we get there? And what was it? Was it cost savings? Was it lowering emissions? Did my energy bill go down by 20%? You just have to look at what changed. And then it's by attribution, of course. I am
Yeah.
very, very, very fond of case studies. I can send any of you. I have a couple of case studies that talk about complete integration of a cause with a purpose-driven company. I have an example of a clothing manufacturer with a veterans organization, and I have an example of the social impact example I cited with W.H. Smith, and I have an example with CarQuest and another veterans organization. And the thing about the case studies, they're retrospective narratives on before and after, and they're extremely powerful. And that actually, instead of a deck or a presentation when you're trying to strategically align perhaps with folks in your supply chain, you just show them that. It's the impact. It's the impact blueprint.
Yeah,
And
I'd love to see those.
yeah, they're great. They're great. I mean, they're a lot of work, but they're great.
Can you talk to us about the clothing manufacturer?
Yeah. So it was Men's Warehouse. So they manufacture. They also have retail, and they went and started working with a veterans organization on a whole number of fronts. One, they employed them. Secondly, they dressed them. They fundraised for them. I wish I could haul up the case study and share it, but I can send it to everybody. So they basically strategically aligned on multiple initiatives, and then again they published the results, and they were able to show this was the thinking, this is the strategy, this is what we did, and this was the outcome. And the earned media value alone paid for all the investment. And that's those metrics I'm super familiar with. And I
Mm-hmm.
encourage everybody, to do what we call media monitoring, because if you don't, you're leaving money on the table. I did a program where the CEO allowed me to hire a public relations firm. We did a campaign over the course of the holidays in a very highly trafficked area. In year one, we sold nothing. In year two, we were able to say, anybody that participates, last year we got 118 million impressions, and we sold out in 2 days, because we took the time to measure who was talking about it, where were we getting coverage, who did we reach, and we had all those data points. I would assume that in manufacturing, and I speak to both, well, everyone on the call in the space, the data points are the most important thing.
So you went to social listening, and how did you know to go there?
Because it's just part and parcel of the value of, assigning the value to the campaign or attributing the value to the campaign. You want to measure anything you can. And in my game, it's who you can have in the room, who can you reach. And so it was very important, you can beg, borrow, or buy audience, but earned media is acquired audience from somebody else, a media partner, another voice. And so capturing that becomes extremely important. And in manufacturing, I'm not familiar with all the trade press and the conferences, but there's got to be a corollary there.
You've named a couple of manufacturing companies already that you're working with. So you may not be a manufacturing person, but you work with manufacturing companies.
Well, and I'm an extraordinary proponent of discovery. I don't go in. I learned a lesson. I'll tell the story because it's funny. I learned a lesson a long time ago. I went for the same charity to an auto dealership. We were going to do a little event, and we had this activation all planned out. And we go in there and we say, you know what, this is going to be great. We're going to get butts in seats. We're going to get test drives. It's going to be fantastic. And this room of salesmen just went completely quiet. And we were all looking at one another. And, we said, well, what's the problem? They said, we don't want butts in seats. Well, why? And it was during COVID. We don't have any cars. It was a supply chain issue. They didn't have any cars to sell. So, we said, well, what do you want? And they said, well, we want to liquor people up and have them have fun. It was a little Vegas soiree. And then when we have cars, they'll come buy from us instead of our competition because they had a good time. So, lesson learned. You don't know what you don't know. And so I try to go into all of these situations doing 20% of the talking and 80% of the listening. And soon enough, you find out what the challenges are and the goals, and we figure out how to get there. So I don't think it's any different with wanting to be less wasteful as a manufacturer, or wanting to endear your employees to be participating, on the shop floor and doing good as well, and going into schools and perhaps getting children to want to follow in their footsteps. It's just identify what resonates with the founders and the decision makers, and then figure out a way to advance it.
So it sounds like there's so many different value points that can be experienced if I'm open to experiencing them. And so what are the biggest blockages that you have for either communicating the possibilities to founders or the decision makers?
I don't find, again, with the discovery mindset, I don't find obstacles short of I'm frustrated because I don't know how to do it. I mean, it always comes down to I don't know how to do it. And I think with AI and all these tools that are there now, sometimes people just need you to show them ChatGPT or Perplexity or Taskade or Apollo or any of these tools. I'm sure there are corollaries. And then their eyes light up and they're like, oh my God, we didn't have this before. Well, we have it now.
And
I'm sure Roy can speak to the fact that some of these things that measure deficiencies didn't exist, and they were hard to execute, and people just ignored it, right? But now not so much.
Yeah, it certainly created possibilities, but I mean, the stuff that you're talking about, even if you have to go brick by brick, all still makes sense. So it's just now I can do it. I can recognize it more easily. I can see it faster, those sort of things. But
and you can scale at your leisure. You can You can start with something as simple as the employees measure something every day and write it down, and feel empowered by doing that. So
We have a question in the chat, Maria. Do you have any templates to create introductions to engage manufacturers?
oh, sure.
Great. Love, would
I
you
can
be, love to have you share them with us so we can leverage your expertise
Mhm.
and promote. Well, one of our Edge products, services, and products is the Edge sustainability module. And this would fit very nicely into the sustainability realm. It does nurture a lean mentality to not waste, be responsible to the environment, but also to repurpose and recycle where possible so that we don't over harvest natural resources, that we can reuse what we have already harvested. That and to get that message out, a company, say, for example, that is practicing lean operations, that would be a place to start, I think, for on the sustainability and the lean side of at least our business. And so any company that would like to foster more lean operations could be a candidate for this kind of messaging, I would think, because they're practicing it already anyway. And to add on another layer to get that message out to the community would give even more power for the company and also to let the whole ecosystem know what involvement they've already and always have been lean oriented. And that could be a statement that could be powerful for a
Absolutely.
manufacturing company.
Absolutely.
Okay, very cool. So
And you can talk about this among all your stakeholders. I mean, I think that's something that I neglected to mention, because we were pretty much focused on those case studies. But you know, this is important to any of your stakeholders, your investors, your customers, your employees, everybody. So it's exciting stuff. I mean, I talk, that's all I do, and I just love it. So I'm very lucky.
that is obvious. But you mentioned something else that it impacts everybody. So the entire corporate culture is impacted by this initiative to
I mean,
create.
you can, you know, assume the role of HR or operations person, no matter where you sit, it does have an impact, without question. I guess
Maybe
my point is it's not that hard to rally the troops behind it.
no, but the other important element is that it be authentic and honest.
So
Right?
that there's no,
Yes,
if you are
talk about
disingenuous,
that.
you are done. You really are.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to in terms of compliance, I was talking to a jewelry manufacturing Berkshire Hathaway executive who was the chief sustainability officer, CSR, corporate social responsibility officer. And I mean, everything they do, from where they source their materials to when it gets to Walmart and it's on the shelves and it's being sold, everything they have checks and balances to be able to communicate all those compliance and sustainability practices, every single on the whole chain.
So complete transparency.
Correct.
To
Yeah, from mining operations to retail. It's pretty cool.
yeah, very cool. So you mentioned one instance, and we're going to have to wrap up in a little bit, but this is really expanding another part of my brain to have you here. Really appreciate your being here. But the ROI, you mentioned in one case that there was no result after the first year, but in the second year, they were sold out in days. So the ROA is kind of a tricky thing. It
Well,
can take a while.
any inaugural program, which is why we suggest in the roadmap, take baby steps. Any inaugural anything is an unknown, right? You don't know how many people are going to show up. You don't know how many things you're going to produce. You don't know if the equipment's going to break. You don't know. And so inaugural is always, it's almost you know, we hope everything goes well. So year two, when you can look back and you can say, that's why I said before and after. Now, what you can do is you can, and I would love to hear Roy's take on this. Because I'm not a predictive analytics person, but you have to, if you adopt that mindset and you use that, but you're honest. This is new, right? This is new. It's kind of an unknown, but here's the goal that we seek, and here's what we predict or plan to achieve. I mean, that's all you can do in an inaugural project.
Was there any caution or hesitancy in continuing to roll for year two, given that year one was
Year
not really on the map?
No, because the CEO was the kind of person where he was willing to make the investment regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were lucky there. But it is a caveat. And, if you take an example of an event, I mean, when I talk to people and they say people should sponsor me so that I can put on my event, that's angel investing. That's underwriting. That is not, if I'm going to go to a concert, I shouldn't have to pay for the stage and the talent, right? But people make that mistake. And so, you really have to have adequate funding to at least try, or
Mm-hmm.
you're probably going to fail. It's like having a runner a marathon and nobody shows up. Not very successful, is it? So, yeah. Now, I will say though, you can be very, very transparent and say, this is something new. We're trying it. And that serves you best, because then there's no expectation of performance. This is new. We'll see. And so, and people have to buy in and accept that.
Mm-hmm.
But there isn't really downside to not wasting and not and recycling. Those things have a lot less risk than other. It's kind of a pot at the end of the rainbow, right?
Right.
Yeah, let me do what I'm already doing better, as opposed to let me do something new.
Well, I think we're at the top of the hour, and I know you have some announcements now.
Yes, we do. Well, thank you so much, Maria. You've been very open with us, and I really appreciate
I hope
that.
I haven't
You're
exploded everybody's
forthcoming.
brain.
No, but please
In a good
don't.
way.
Yes, yes, in a really good way. Thank you. No, you have opened up our minds, and I think you underestimate yourself. There's a lot, and I think that humility is something we can all. You're very accomplished. I know that, and you're so humble about it. So thank you so much for
My pleasure.
joining us today and being very honest, transparent, and just you, just being generously you. So thank
Everyone
you so
needs you.
much. Yes, a very heartfelt thank to you, Maria, and from Strategic Value Plus Solutions. And we would like to have you update us in the future. We'll definitely involve you and promote. Well, we do have one of our product lines is a sustainability focused product line called VPlusEdge Sustain. And there is also a sister product, VPlusEdge Lean, which is an attempt to help improve efficiencies around use of materials and also use of resources. So those are two things we can use your expertise on. So that with that, I'd like to offer everyone who is in the manufacturing space, because we are a V Plus organization who help transform manufacturers, small and medium sized in the United States primarily. We have a manufacturing digital maturity assessment and also a manufacturing sustainability assessment that we'd like to offer for free, and also a roadmap to get you closer and closer to the ideal digital industry 4.0. So please contact us at info@strategicvalueplus.com or email me your interest. And we'll also share with those who've registered a synopsis of today's webinar. And also, we want to invite you to our next webinar in July, which is going to feature a person from across the pond, Brett Griffiths is going to be our guest next month, talking to us about either Lean or Six Sigma. So please stay tuned. Give you more information as that unfolds. So again, don't forget to contact Maria at contact. What is your email again, Maria? Please tell us.
It's causemarketingconsultant.com. And my email is Maria at.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, very good. So you heard it here. And also, until next time, stay purpose-driven and keep making smart, sustainable moves. Thank you, everyone. See you next
Thank you,
time.
Maria.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.